Hello and welcome back to a Mad Men Big Finish review, a video series where I review one of the latest releases from Big Finish. For this video, I'm going to be talking about The War Master, Solitary Confinement. Finally, the madman, not this madman, obviously, is where he truly belongs. In a insane asylum for the criminally deranged, of course. So that is the setup for solitary confinement. The master supposedly has no memory of how he came to be here. There is doubt whether he is actually the master. And to one of the staff members of the institute, he is recounting some stories of his past. As the synopsis here shares stories of love and loss, madness and glory. But there's still a final twist in the tale, one the master's waiting to share with his enemies. Now this is comprised of 4 stories. I'm going to try, as usual, go in spoiler-free as possible, with our first story, The Walls of Absence by James Goss. The code purgers of Shift have made a fortune cleaning up the galaxy's code, subroutines assessed, and errors repaired. So when the master loses his mind, quite literally, there is only one place he can turn. Now this is my favorite story of this box set. I love everything about this story, and what a great way to start this box set. The master losing his mind. He enlists the help of believe the character Mendrix to help him within these sessions to figure out who he really is, and through these sessions, the two are kind of developing a connection and relationship with one another, and I really enjoyed that. I really love that. It makes it even more bittersweet once the ending of the story comes to fruition. But I loved everything about this. A great way to start this box set, which leads into the second story, The Long Despair by Tim Foley. On the ocean world of Murky, the master enlists the help of a captain to voyage across its seas. Their target, a beacon on a distant isle, shining across the waves. But what deadly trials await? This was fine. It's a slight disappointment considering how great The Walls of Absence was, at least to me. The Long Despair I thought it's fine, it's okay, the characters are fine. A typical, which I find with a lot of the box set, is it's the middle story where it's okay. It's an okay story. Which leads into our third story, The Life and Loves of Mr. Alexander Bennett by Alfie Shaw. Alexander Bennett lives a normal life. He has a job, a girlfriend, a plan for the future, and a new home assistant, Meizu, that offers all the advice he could ever need, whether he wants it or not. I really like this story. This is probably the second favorite story of this box set. It's the typical, the master plays a more background role, manipulating events in the story that are affecting essentially the main characters of them. Of it, which is Alexander Bennett. It's very similar to, if you've listened to The War Master before, the third story, coincidentally, the Skyman in Only the Good, or essentially the entirety of Masters of Callus, where, the master has a more background presence. He's not really the focus of the story. It's more like what he is kind of doing to manipulate certain actions or events that the characters are partaking in that will lead to something that he wants. I really liked it. It was fascinating. It was interesting. Kept me intrigued. If I had to compare, I think Skyman did it much better, but I really still liked The Lives and Love of Mr. Alexander Bennett. And that comes to our finale, The Kicker by Trevor Baxendale. When a member of the Temporal Inquisition arrives at the Crane Institute, they discover more to the Master's madness than meets the eye, and his secrets now threaten them all. This was fine. Again, it's another fine story. It's fine. It at least wraps up the Crane Institute story arc that was going on. But I think the problem I have with it just being fine is that the whole Master being institutionalized isn't really kind of like touched upon throughout the previous 3 stories. The each of the three stories starts with like the master like being essentially questioned, interviewed by a member of the Crane Institute, and he recounts these tales to them. So that whole kind of story arc is not really kind of present, which makes the finale a bit lackluster in my opinion. It was okay. I don't think it's bad, but it would have been better if we had more kind of meat to the overarching story of the master being institutionalized, and if he's actually the master or not, because they do bring up in one of the previous stories, like, oh yeah, we have a lot of patients here that claim they're different Time Lords. We have people that think they're the Doctor, people that think they're the Rani. We have several that think are the Master. So, do we believe you? And that's the whole point of this final story, is that, you know, a member of the Temporal Inquisition arrives because of the Master, because they're convinced this is the Master. But everyone in all the heads of the Institute don't. They just think he's just another insane person. So it was fine, somewhat lackluster, fine-ish ending. The twist at the end, no, there's two twists. There's several twists to this story. I really liked a lot of the twists in this story, particularly about the Crane Institute, without spoiling it. I really liked the twist about that. But the twist at the end of the story felt so pointless. It was in the Master's character, yes, he would do something like this, but if you took it away, it does not affect the end of the story. It felt so pointless, just felt so tacked on at the end. It wasn't really I don't think, in my opinion, it wasn't really necessary to put that end twist there. I would say final criticism of the box set is that it's still continuing this formula of just the Master just pretending to be, I'm the nice old man, and then at the end of the story, turns out he's not. Turns out he's not. He's been manipulating everyone for his own needs. You know, I'd say there's 3 box sets where that has worked really, really well. Only the Good, Masters of Callus, and Killing Time. Because, at least with those 3, it was fitting into the overarching story that it was giving. With Only the Good, well, technically the first story is just a reintroduction to the War Master. The last 3 have an overarching arc with the character of Cole Jarnish and what the Master is seeking to help end the Time War. Then with Masters of Callus, it's the mining organization, the Master in the background just manipulating them to a point where he could just take over and get what he needs. And then with Killing Time, it's meeting someone that is essentially almost his match, and he's kind of stumped, and he's finding a way to get the one up on them, and he's revisiting previous foes that he's messed with before, like Joe and Nissa, all leading up to the finale. With this, because there's lack of a development of the story arc, it doesn't work that well. And like I said, it is getting formulaic of just the Master just pretending he's a good person, or he has memory loss. Like, give me something different. You know, at least Anti-Genesis gave us something different. Just the Master deciding I'm just going to go back and just make the Daleks myself. There we go. And I'm going to be essentially in control of the universe because I've done that. Do something different. And again, like, everything he does in the story, like what it's leading for him to do, like, I don't know, it doesn't tie into the overall story arc. Like I said with Killing Time, everything he does in each story leads to the finale of Killing Time. Everything he did in Anti-Genesis, like, we see him. It's not just like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm gonna use it against the Daleks. Like, it's just only in that one story. No, everything in that story is about him creating the Daleks, like, making his own plans to take control of everything because now he's created the Daleks and all that. Yeah, that works well there. I wouldn't really say so with this, with Solitary Confinement. But, you know, regardless, you know, sometimes, you know, it's okay to play it safe, but sometimes, you know, take the risk, try something different, and it can work. Like, Rani Takes on the World is, I would say, they tried something different, and it really worked. Like, I really loved that box set. So, you know, hopefully there's at least another 2 box sets of the War Master that have been announced so far. So hopefully that it's something different. You know, I really love this series. It's one of my favorite from Big Finish. But I want to be surprised. Sometimes I don't just want to be like, I know what I'm getting. No, I'm going into a McDonald's, I'm getting a McChicken. I'm not going to be surprised that it's a McChicken. It's like, I know what I'm getting. Like, I know what I'm eating. Like, maybe I might be surprised by something. It's like, oh, they did something different with this McChicken. Oh, they've added something that's really improved it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling at this point. But, I mean, regardless of my criticism, I still liked Solitary Confinement. 2 stories that I really, really enjoyed. I found very interesting, very engaging. They were fantastic. And then just 2 okay stories. The cover for this box set, which is by the Sean Longmore, incredibly talented. I love his artwork. I love the artwork he does for Big Finish. Great. Really like this cover. Captures the whole, you know, the Master confined, now in insane asylum, like prisoner, etc. I really love the cover. But anyway, I'm just gonna keep rambling on, but time to end this. Anyway, if I were to rate this box set, probably I'd just give it a 7. Sorry, yeah, I'd just barely give it a 7 out of 10. Even counting my criticisms, yeah, there was the 2 stories in there I just really, really, really liked. I didn't feel like I was gypped out of my money. Like, I was like, oh, this is a waste of money. Why did I buy this? But no, yeah, 7 out of 10 for the War Master Solitary Confinement. And that was it for this review. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to check out my previous reviews, any of the videos that myself and my co-hosts have done. Check into the live stream. If you've listened to Solitary Confinement, what were your thoughts on this box set? Leave them down below in the comments. And I will see you all in the next one. Ciao.